Good morning, all of you. We'll start with a new chapter, that is the study of flower. Starting with the definition that flower is a modified or a condensed shoot for sexual reproduction. Now, what is the meaning of modification or modified? So, any type of modification that is meant or that is a change in structure because of change in function. So, you may have observed certain motorcycles where especially the mudguards, etc., they are modified. Those who are using some racing motorcycles, you may have seen that modifications. Similarly, here you have a shoot, vegetative shoot. A vegetative shoot, you have the leaves. In case of flowers, you have the floral whorls, calyx, corolla, androecium, and the gynoecium. Now, these vegetative leaves, they are modified into floral leaves or floral whorls. So that is modification. Then what is condensation or condensed? So vegetative shoot, you have a very big size, whereas flower, comparatively, it is very smaller. So condensed, we can take the example of milk. So you have normal milk. If you try to condense it, you'll get a very small quantity. Especially if you are enjoying Kojagiri, you may observe it. You bring 4 liters of milk, you'll get 1 liter of condensed milk. Similarly, here you have a very large shoot, and that shoot, it condensed it into a very small flower. Now, what is the purpose behind this modification or condensation? It is the sexual reproduction. So, flower or the vegetative shoot is modified and it is condensed into a flower for the sexual reproduction. Now, we'll see the parts of a typical flower one by one. Starting with the first, that is the pedicel or the stalk of the flower. Now, pedicel or the stalk of the flower is the part which connects or which holds the flower on the stem or the peduncle. So, in some cases, you have the peduncle, or in some cases, the peduncle might be divided, you have the rachis. So, on that, the flower is placed, and if you have the stalk, that stalk is called as the peduncle. Now, when peduncle is present, the flower is called as the pedicellate flower. In some cases, the pedicel is present, the flower is called as the pedicellate flower. In some cases, the pedicel might be absent. In such cases, the flower is called as a sessile flower. Just above the pedicel, you have a structure which is slightly swollen, and this swollen structure on which the other floral whorls they are placed, that is called as the thalamus. The thalamus is the portion on which the other 4 floral whorls, that is the calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium, they are placed or inserted. Thalamus, it may have different shape in different types of flowers. So if you look at annona flower, so you have a conical thalamus. So normally we don't have an habit of looking at annona flower, but you might have eaten an annona's fruit. So that time, if it is with the stalk, you remove the stalk fully, then you will observe a conical structure like the inverted cone of an ice cream. So that is your conical structure or conical thalamus. Or similarly in Michaelia, the Sonzafa, you have an elongated thalamus. Or in case of citrus, lemon, you have a disc-shaped thalamus. Lotus, now it is very rare in our area, so you may certainly not have observed it, that is having a flat thalamus. Hibiscus, that is very common. If you dissect it, you will observe a cup-shaped structure, that is a cup-shaped thalamus. And in rose, it is a saucer-shaped structure. Now you have the 4 floral whorls on the flower: calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium. Out of the floral whorls, 2 of them, they are called as the essential, and two of them, they are called as accessory whorls. So you have accessory whorls and the necessary whorls. Now what are these accessory whorls and the necessary whorls? Necessary whorls are those whorls without which the flower will not be able to function. So your function is your sexual reproduction, and in sexual reproduction you have the androecium and the gynoecium which are involved. So they are the necessary whorls. Whereas calyx and corolla, they are just helping. So they are the accessory whorls. So all the four whorls, calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium, out of which calyx and corolla, they are the accessory whorls, whereas androecium and gynoecium, they are the necessary whorls. Now flowers, they may be categorized into different types, and we are using here different types of criteria. Firstly, we may have a complete flower and incomplete flower. Now what is a complete flower? So flower having all the four types of floral whorls, calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. All of them, if they are there, such a flower is a complete flower. Now when any one of them, either a calyx, either a corolla, either androecium or gynoecium, if they are lacking, then such a flower is called as an incomplete flower. Then you may have flowers which are unisexual or which are bisexual. In unisexual flower, one of the sex organs is absent. Either the androecium is not present or either the gynoecium is not present. Whereas in bisexual flowers, we have both androecium and gynoecium, they are present. Then you may have a pedicellate flower or a sessile flower. So as already we have seen in the next last slide, that when you have the stalk or the pedicel, then the flower is called as a pedicellate flower. When this pedicel is absent or the stalk of the flower is absent, then it is called as a sessile flower. Then according to symmetry, you have three different types: trimerous, tetramerous, pentamerous. Generally all the angiosperms, either you have a trimerous flower, tetramerous flower or pentamerous flower. So trimerous flower, the floral whorls, they are present in number of 3 or multiple of 3. Whereas in tetramerous you have 4 or multiple of 4. And in case of pentamerous flowers, the floral whorls, they are either 5 or in multiple of 5. Then next type is your ebracteate flower and the bracteate flower. So in case of certain flowers, at the base of the flower there is a small leaf-like structure that is called as a bract. If bract is present, then the flower is called as a bracteate flower. If bract is absent, then that flower is called as an ebracteate flower. Then you have the perfect flower, imperfect flower. So perfect flower, both the male sex organ and female sex organ, they are present. Sepals and petals might be absent or might be present. But in imperfect flower, you have only one type of sex organ. Sepals and petals, the presence. If they are present, it's okay. If they are not present, then again it's okay. Then we have next type of flower, that is the naked flower, where calyx and corolla, they are absent. So that flower is represented only by the sexual part, either the androecium or gynoecium. The most common example is the flower of your Euphorbiaceae. There you have the stamens representing the male flower. So large number of stamens are there. Each one is representing a male flower, whereas you have a single ovary in the center, and that is representing the female flower. Then a petalous flower. In some cases, petals might be absent. Such a flower is called as an apetalous flower. Staminate pistillate flower, already we have seen in case of the naked flower. Staminate flowers only stamens are present, pistil is absent. Whereas pistillate flower, pistil is present, stamens are absent. Then in the next case, you have the insertion or the flowers categorized according to the insertion of floral whorls on the thalamus. Now, what is First of all, insertion. So insertion is nothing but, especially in case of boys, you might be having the habit of tucking your shirt in the pants. So what we do, we are inserting the shirt in the pants. So what we call that, I have done insert or me insert kela. You are not doing insert, you are insert nahi kela tumhi, so you are doing insert. So you are inserting the shirt inside the pants. That is the insertion. Similarly here, the floral whorls, they are inserted on the thalamus. Now, according to the relative position of the other floral whorls with that of the ovary, you have three different types of the flowers. So, hypogynous flower, perigynous flower, and the epigynous flower. Starting with the first one, that is the hypogynous flower. Now, in hypogynous flower, what happens is that calyx, corolla, and androecium, all of them, they are inserted just below the gynoecium on the thalamus or just below the ovary. So that makes the ovary superior to the other floral whorls because ovary is present above all these three floral whorls, that is the calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium. The most common example, that is of hibiscus or datura. So first figure, you might be observing that the floral whorls, here you have the sepal, you have the petal, and the androecium. All of them, they are inserted below this ovary. So this ovary is at the top, whereas the rest of the three, they are placed below. Such flower is called as an hypogynous flower. Second type is your perigynous flower. Now in certain cases, you have a cup-shaped thalamus. In that case, the calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium, they are present at the same level, equal level, and that makes the ovary half superior, half inferior. So in this case, we call the flower as a perigynous flower. Ovary is neither superior, ovary is neither inferior. The third type, that is epigynous flower. Now epi, that is above, gyne, that is gynoecium or the ovary. So the floral whorls, they are placed above the ovary or above the gynoecium, especially in the flowers of canna or guava. All the floral whorls, that is calyx, corolla, and androecium, they are placed above the ovary. So ovary becomes inferior, and above the ovary, the calyx, the corolla, and the androecium, they are placed. Such type of flower is called as the epigynous flower. Then we have the flowers can be categorized into three different types again. Symmetrical flower or actinomorphic. According to the symmetry of flower, you have the actinomorphic flower, zygomorphic flower, or asymmetrical flower. So symmetry, you might be knowing, especially those who have given the exam of drawing, intermediate drawing. So you have a drawing that was called as an symmetry drawing, or Taj Mahal you must have seen. So both sides, they are equal. If you look at Taj Mahal, so that makes it symmetrical. Both of the sides, or just take our body, you can divide it into two equal half. Both of the sides are equal. So that is your symmetry. Now, according to this symmetry of flower, you have the first type, that is the actinomorphic flower. Now in actinomorphic flower, if you divide that flower into two equal half by any plane, any direction, any plane, the flower will be always divided into two equal halves. You take n number of planes, either this way, this way, this way, any way. You'll always get the two equal half. Such flowers, they are called as the regular or actinomorphic flowers. The example that is of hibiscus. If you try to divide it, it will be divided into two equal half. Then the second type, that is the irregular flower or zygomorphic flower. Now in case of irregular flower or zygomorphic flower, you can divide the flower into two equal half, but only with the help of a single plane. So if you take the example of pea plant, then in pea plant you can divide that flower into two equal halves by a single plane. If you try to divide by another plane, then the flower will not be divided into two equal halves. So such flower is called as a zygomorphic flower. Last one, that is the asymmetric flower. Now asymmetric flower is not divided into two equal halves by any plane, not a single plane. So if you observe the flower of canna, in case of flower of canna, you try to divide it into equal half, it will never be divided into equal half. So such flower, they are called as an asymmetric flower where symmetry is not present. Stop करो madam.